From the outside, a grain silo looks like a concrete vault. It is a massive, permanent structure that appears completely motionless. The grain inside is alive. Even after harvest, every individual kernel continues to breathe as a biological entity. Millions of these individual seeds are tightly packed together in the dark, held in a fragile state of suspended animation. A silo functions as a dormant biological ecosystem, requiring specific environmental conditions to stay asleep. When grain arrives from the field, it often looks clean and healthy, yet it can harbor a microscopic threat: excessive moisture. This moisture triggers a slow, unseen deterioration that is difficult to detect until the damage is irreversible. If this single variable isn't strictly controlled, it initiates a biological chain reaction that consumes the grain from the inside out. The cascade begins with respiration. High moisture levels force the living grain to breathe at an accelerated rate. This process consumes the grain's valuable dry matter and produces a dangerous byproduct: heat. Because grain is a natural insulator, heat is trapped. It builds into concentrated high-temperature pockets known as hotspots. The surrounding grain prevents heat from escaping. As temperatures climb, neighboring seeds respire faster, spreading hotspots through the mass. Excess moisture has effectively triggered the grain's own respiration to create a warm, hostile internal climate. Fungi and storage insects are nearly always present in harvested grain, waiting for the right conditions to wake up. These hotspots act as incubators. Insect populations begin to multiply rapidly, damaging the kernels as they feed. Simultaneously, the warm environment awakens dormant storage molds. They spread through the pile, rotting the kernels and creating unpleasant odors. This side-by-side comparison shows the risk. Certain fungi produce mycotoxins, which are chemical compounds that pose severe health risks to livestock. At this point, the storage environment has shifted completely. The grain is no longer dormant. The pests are in control. As the spoilage progresses, the physical properties of the grain change. The wet, rotting kernels become highly adhesive. The grain sticks together in massive clumps, forming solid walls against the silo, known as caking, or creating suspended arches called bridges over the discharge funnels. When the healthy grain underneath drains out, the bridge remains locked in place, creating a dangerous structural void. Clearing these blockages is difficult and hazardous. It requires significant labor and often forces workers to enter the silo, creating a life-threatening safety risk. A microscopic amount of moisture has now led to a total mechanical failure of the storage system. By the time the grain is extracted, its dry matter is lost and its nutritional value is destroyed. Using this spoiled grain as feed directly compromises the health and growth of the livestock. Uncontrolled moisture ultimately turns a biological process into a direct financial loss for the entire operation. Professional feed mills employ proactive strategies to stop this chain reaction before it starts. The first line of defense is testing moisture levels the moment the grain is received at the facility. Once stored, mills use aeration systems to move air through the mass. This keeps the grain cool and suppresses respiration. Operators constantly monitor internal temperatures and will actively dry any batches that exceed safe moisture limits. Controlling moisture is the most effective way to preserve the harvest, ensuring the grain stays dormant until it is needed.